Hey, let's go ahead and just jump right into it.
Yeah.
You want to lead this one in?
I don't like leading in. I really don't.
As I was going to say, I don't feel like you do it very often. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I don't like doing it.
I really hope this makes the cut. Hey, welcome to Fake Philosophers. We are post April 1st. We are, you know what? I think this episode will be posting on Easter Sunday. Phones off, please, if you can. That'd be great. Just put them on silent or take them off vibrate or
what. Did my phone do a thing?
Did it vibrate? I mean, phone vibrated. I heard a vibrate. I'm sorry. I was trying to do a bit, but anyway.
Let me move that.
This episode is posting on Easter Sunday, so it is our Easter episode, and yay!
He is risen.
He is risen indeed. So we are actually recording this on Good Friday, a couple days prior to it. Danny, did you have a good Friday? A good Friday?
I had a good Wednesday. It looks like you had a very good Friday.
It's a very good Friday so far. Yeah, I tell you what.
If you get my Mitch had sex.
Yeah.
Didn't you, Mitch?
Not yet, buddy. Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, I am married, so yeah, but you know, as of recently, not yet. But anyway.
Okay.
Right now, when we're recording, it's about 10:30 my time, which would make it 7:30 Danny's time. Hence,
yep.
if those of you not watching, if you're just listening in and not watching, I am in my comfy clothes, so I cannot be bothered, and that's why Danny's mentioning that. But.
Okay, that makes sense now. Okay. Needed clarification.
Yeah. But how you doing, Danny?
I'm good. Like I said, had a good Wednesday. Had a good week. But yeah, I did have a moment of existential dread.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because I was just like I was doom scrolling while I was taking a shit. And first of all, if you're gonna take a shit, do not doom scroll. It is.
I was gonna say. I mean, doom scrolling and shitting, that's redundant. I mean, I do both at the same. You cannot do one without the other.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, it was like one bad thing just followed by another bad thing just followed by another. Like the first thing I saw was like how like China brokered a peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And then how they're like, oh, they're going to join the BRICS now. And I was like, what the fuck is the BRICS? And so I was like looking that up. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then like immediately right after that, like I don't know what algorithm is in charge, but they're doing a great job. Because the immediate thing after that was in the event of a nuclear explosion, here's what you should do.
Oh, no. Okay.
And I was just like, oh, so yeah, I'm fucked.
For those, I mean, I obviously know, but for those of those audience members that might not know what the BRIC is, why don't you go ahead and explain to them what you think of.
So the BRICS is an economic alliance between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Okay. Yes, I do know what that is. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And probably soon to be Saudi Arabia and Iran.
It's... From what I've gathered, it's going to be a new OPEC, like OPEC 2, basically.
Yeah, and essentially what they're going to work to do is phase out the U.S. dollar as, you know, the end-all, be-all currency of the world and replace it with the yuan.
See, this is blowing my mind because Danny and I, before we started recording, Danny and I definitely, it was going to be him, it was going to be him and me. Right? That's grammatically correct. It was going to be him and me discussing the Trump indictment and all that because we wanted to chat about that. And Mike was kind of like a maybe, whatever, but it was at least me or Danny. And we were like, you know, for me anyway, the past few days, I was like, all right, we're going to talk indictment. I'm like excited to talk about it. Well, you know, excited. We'll see how it goes. And so the past few days, that's all I've been thinking about was the indictment and what we're going to talk about. But there's also all this crazy shit happening in the world at the same time too, and it's like, oh my god, yeah,
because I was the one who brought up, hey, let's talk about the indictment because that's topical. But I was like, as I was like reading into this, I'm like, holy shit, this is like too topical. This is what is taking up the news. Like, nobody's talking about anything else except this fucking arraignment and indictment.
Yep.
And I was just like, shit.
There was another thing that kind of coincided. I don't know if it coincided, but it was another thing that was in the same ballpark as the BRIC thing. OPEC I mentioned OPEC a bit ago, but OPEC just announced like a week or two ago that they were like, hey, we're going to not produce as much oil as we have been for the past few decades. We're going to like cut our production by a few 100 million barrels of oil. So y'all just go ahead and deal with that. And I don't know if that has, any relation to it. I think it does, but yeah.
Yeah. And so we're like the way all of that is working. And because we get most of our oil from Saudi Arabia and now they're backed by China and Russia, that's going to put us into a corner where we're going to have to probably start a war because that's what we always do.
Well, what we were doing was becoming energy independent and producing our own oil and being, cut off from everything else. But then, sorry, but it seems to me in my Republican lenses, it was like, then Biden took office and he's like, no, you know what? No, we shouldn't be producing oil. We should not be producing oil. No one should be producing oil. We need to be more green and renewable energy. So we're not going to be producing oil.
I'm all for. Let's just fucking do it.
It's a great idea. Now, great ideas fall short when you don't have the means to accomplish that great idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, solar is brilliant if there were sun 24/7, but there's not. So we got to like kind of refine that. Batteries are brilliant if we didn't have to mine for nickel and if batteries weren't so fucking expensive and went bad after 5 years. The idea is great, but we don't have the means to accomplish it yet. So
yeah,
I try to play both sides and end up getting hated by both because I say, look, yes, the green energy, renewable energy is the way to go. Also, we are still reliant, not preferred, we are reliant on oil-based energy, and we need to keep that flow coming. I thought it was a great idea to be energy independent because we can produce the oil and we have enough, what would you say, not resources, but we have enough means to accomplish those resources to be energy independent and do it in a reasonably green way. When we just don't produce our own oil, we end up buying our oil from Russia, which we are, from Saudi Arabia, which we are. And if you want to tell me that Saudi Arabia and Russia is producing oil cleaner than we were, I don't know about that. So anyway, end of rant on that subject.
Well, and so another thing is we have in this country 5,000 open drilling contracts for oil on oil reserves. But nobody's buying them up. And the reason I want to say is because of taxes, and nobody wants to have to pay the extra in taxes. Meanwhile, I'll tell you right now, ExxonMobil, all of these oil companies have been enjoying record profits the last 3-4 years.
Right. And how?
So
and how? Where are they getting these profits from?
Well, they're getting their cheap oil from Saudi Arabia or wherever they're getting it from. I don't know exactly where. And then they're just marking it up.
Yeah, which we saw. The minute we started becoming not energy independent, the minute we started halting all our own oil production and natural gas production and all that, we saw a huge spike in gas. Everyone tried to blame it on COVID, which we were like, I don't know, but And then what happened? Now OPEC declared that they're not going to be, I'm talking about today, OPEC declared they're not going to be making as many barrels of oil. And then today we see a sudden jump in gas prices. And it's probably still COVID's fault. It's probably Trump's fault somehow. But it's definitely not. It's definitely not, policy or anything like that. So anyway, I'm in a mood. I'm sorry. I'm in a mood today.
Yeah. Shoot your shot, man. Do it. Get it off your chest. Get it off your very exposed chest.
Thank you. Yes, I've been working out.
Get it off your hairless chest.
No, there's a little bit of pepper in there. It's not much.
Okay.
It's a spritz. It's not a holy shit, the cap fell off situation like you got, but it's a sprinkle.
Hey. It's a good thing I'm not sensitive about it.
Yeah. But anyway, all that policy shit. I feel like we should talk about the indictment a little bit.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
We'll get into that. But as far as world economy is concerned, ugh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put the tinfoil hat on,
Go for
because that's how I decided to start the episode. I think all the media buzz around this Donald Trump is going to jail. This Donald Trump is in court. He's the defendant now. It's like this is the hey, pay no mind, or pay no attention to the man behind the curtain type of thing.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
This is the smile for the birdie kind of thing.
See, I think there's a bit of that. I'm of the opinion in because I didn't really think it was true until I started listening to a lot of other fucking idiots. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, this might be true." I'm of the opinion that the media is in general, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, all the just any, if you cover the news, you're the media. We are the media. But no, I'm of the opinion that a lot of mainstream media 100% wants Trump to win the primary and be running for president in 2024.
So they can have a news cycle?
Exactly. There's that, and it's twofold. One, oh my God, they're making so much money. Can you imagine? We have no idea how much money they're making right now. You thought Afghanistan was making a lot of money on the news cycle there. This shit is, oh my God, it's making so much money. I remember on Monday or Tuesday, they had a nearly 18-hour coverage of nothing but an airplane at an airport leaving Florida. Yeah. Just to go to New York. And it was like, holy shit, this is not I heard a commentator say it was like watching the Ford Bronco on the 405 with O.J. Simpson in it during the NBA playoffs. It was that kind of coverage.
Yeah. I think it was, I don't know who, I think it was it was either Colbert or it was Daily Show. And they were just going over how ridiculous the news coverage has been about it. And it's here's Trump's plane in Florida. Here's Trump's plane taking off. Here's Trump's motorcade pulling up to the plane. It's ridiculous.
my dumbass closed-minded observations was listening to, more conservative talk show hosts, and they were saying the same exact thing. It's like, oh my God, with this coverage, really? It's a plane. Yeah. It's a plane. Holy shit, look at a plane being a plane. It's great. But
yeah.
So where was I going with this? Media coverage.
I don't know.
No, okay, twofold. Why the media wants Trump to win? Twofold. One, it's the coverage. They're selling coverage of a plane, and people are watching it. It's great. Anything about Trump, they're going to watch it. So they know if Trump's in the election, they're going to sell coverage. Two, they think it's a slam dunk. If Trump wins the primary, the Democrats will win the election. It was the same thing we all thought in 2016. I personally thought that when it was the final showdown between Trump and Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz finally conceded and Trump won the primary, it was like, shit, well, Trump won the primary. That means he's definitely going to lose the election. Everyone thought so. The results were, a different story. But I think that's what is happening again today. I think they're doing the same damn thing where it's like, dude, if Trump gets a primary, it's a win-win for the media.
Yeah, but he might not even be able to run 34 counts. one has got to stick. One has got to stick.
You know what? This reminds me of this fucking guy. I've got to look up his name. Anyway, I remember watching this documentary about this guy who claimed he had encountered aliens, and he was kind of famous amongst the alien community because he had claimed he had experienced some 200 something encounters with aliens and documented it, got like where he wrote about it and the general consensus was, it was like, look, for someone to acclaim this many, at least one of them must have been real. And I remember laughing my ass off at like, no, they're all wrong because it didn't happen. But yeah, this, I mean, we get into the minutia in a minute, but this like broad strokes is pretty incredible because I'm waiting for someone, some commentator, some news commentator, lawyer, someone to come out and say, hey, yeah, this is a strong case. They might get him.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone.
You know, we've seen him kind of get off of like stuff like this before. So I think everybody's just like, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to do it. And that, I mean, it makes sense, but I think like if it's not this case, this specific case in New York, it's going to be the case in Georgia, or it's going to be the documents case in Florida,
or the January 6th incitement case and all that.
We're still waiting for the DOJ to do something with that. They haven't said anything about that yet.
I've heard that too. And here's the one comment I'll say about that is that, you know, with all the other things, it seems like a pattern to me that ever since 2016, when he finally won pre-election, when he finally won the election, the election for the primary, and like started going into the main election for the presidency, it has been almost monthly, one thing after another that they come after Trump with, be it, you know, he grabs women by the pussy versus the Russian collusion versus the, you know, XYZ. They're like for a while, for 4 years, it was monthly, something else they were going after him with. And everything they came after him with didn't stick. It was either like, no, there was no there. No, it was more hype, it was like whatever. And it's looking at the big picture of it. What it kind of looked like was like, okay, we accused him of this. And by the time he kind of like got out of like, no, this isn't true, they were already moved on to the next thing. This is what we're accusing him of this. Okay, well, this is okay, now we're accusing him of this. And then another thing, X, Y, Z, 7, 8, 9, 10, all these other things. And then finally they take a step back and like, look at all these accusations. I mean, they must have look at all these accusations. Some of them must have been real, but it's like, no, none of them were. None of them ever stuck. Yeah. And this is just another one. Another stupid, like if you're going to go after him, it's boy cried wolf after a while. Shit.
I'll agree to that for sure. Absolutely. But I think they're like, I think the New York case is small fish. I think the thing that's really gonna put his balls in a vice is probably the Mar-a-Lago document thing.
Maybe. I think there's more juice in the January 6th thing, in my opinion. Mar-a-Lago's not gonna amount to shit, in my opinion, because seriously, a week after the Mar-a-Lago discovery, they found shit in Biden's garage. So it was like, well, look, what are you going to get? And then everything...
Put him on trial, too. I'm all for that. You know, the law is equal.
Yeah,
I don't care who it
down.
is. If you have documents that you're not supposed to have, you need to answer for that.
Right. But it's like, name one thing they're accusing Trump of that Hillary didn't do. It was kind of like, yeah, we're not all above the law. I heard a commentator say this. It's like, no one is above the law, but no one should be the target of the law. And when you have something like Hillary Clinton, where it was like so blatantly a breach of the law, where you have the director of the FBI say, look, okay, you know what? Look, Hillary broke the law, but we don't really know if Hillary broke the law, so we're not going to prosecute. And it was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think what he meant was like, we know Hillary broke the law, but we can't prove that Hillary broke the law. And that is the key thing. Because in a court, you need to be able to prove and back up your claim.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I all this just kind of reminded me of Hillary. I might have to go back and watch the whole thing and compare it. But anyway, no, you're right. I mean, you're right. If a law is broken, then he should be charged. But at the same time, to what extent are you going to go out of your way to manipulate the law just to get someone, just to prove that someone did break the law? This 34 counts of like what? Like I didn't even see like
campaign finance fraud.
Is that like what the official thing was? I was gonna look it up, but I was bored and I didn't want to look it up. But do you know do you want to give like the shorthand summary of what these are? What the
so I'm not sure about all 34 counts. The big ticket here is Trump used through various avenues, campaign finances to pay Stormy Daniels hush money.
Okay, so what I heard it was that the 34 counts were based on business fraud or fake business fraud related to campaign funds. So that's what the state of New York is actually accusing him of.
Yes.
What happened was back in 2014, 2015, Trump's people set up a shell corporation to basically pay off Stormy Daniels' lawyer to keep her hushed up so that she wouldn't say that Trump banged her back in whenever that was.
Yeah.
And because this can be argued that, okay, he paid her to keep quiet in 2015 because he was running for president. So we can say, and this is where the translation of the law is going to come into play. Because he paid her to keep quiet in 2015 while he was in an election, that could be technically election funding, money going to his election. But because he did it through his business and he didn't claim that it was election funding, then it was faking a business payment or whatever you call it, business funds. So that's what it was basically that. And the rest of the other charges, of the other 33 charges or whatever, are just basically him saying, or just the same forms over and over again. That's what I gathered.
And I want to say, like, there was even more to it than that. So, like, what happened was, like, Michael Cohen, his lawyer, paid Stormy Daniels out of, like, his account and paid her $130,000 out of his account. And then Trump essentially gave him money from the campaign to pay that back. And that is a no-no, apparently.
It was some weird, like, installment plan he was doing to Cohen, or Cohen was doing to Stormy or some shit. But, yeah, so that's what it is. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, if you can figure that out, you'll be a genius. Because I heard someone lay it out. When it comes to business fraud in the state of New York, it's a misdemeanor unless a DA decides to bump it up to a felony. Or lump it in with some other felony charge. So the fact that these are being bumped up to a felony is already kind of weird. The other major thing that's kind of a point of controversy here is the statute of limitations. Statute of limitations in New York is about 3 years, I believe. I have to look that up. It was between 3 or 5 years. So even if this did happen in 2015, it's outside the paradigm of the statute of limitations. But the fact that it was bumped up to a felony recently suddenly re-upped all this shit. So everyone's kind of like, wait, is there a statute of limitations or not? Is there such a thing as misdemeanor or not? Why is this district attorney doing all this shit? So in my opinion, again, Republican lenses looking through all this shit, the handwriting is on the wall that it's obviously politically driven and it's obviously politically perverted to just get Trump. And he shrugs in his robe.
I don't know. I mean, I can definitely see where that's coming from. But I mean, if it happens in Florida, is it still politically driven, even though that's a red state?
If it happens in Florida,
in Georgia,
if it happens in Florida, I will blow a horse. Like I swear to God. Like if DeSantis and his DA decide to persecute Trump under something that happened outside the statute of limitations and decide to bump it up to a felony just on the purpose of getting Trump, get me a horse, bro. I'll do it.
But no, I'm talking about like the Mar-a-Lago case. Like that was in
Okay,
Florida.
yeah.
That's under. I mean, technically that's a federal crime, but it's still in Florida, and it has to go to a Florida grand jury.
Yeah.
So, is it still politically motivated if it happens in that state as opposed to New York?
That's actually a good question. That's a pretty good question. If it happens in Florida,
I'm just
would it
asking
still be
questions,
politically
Mitch.
If I would say if DeSantis and Trump were head to head, and it was like let's see who's going to win, and DeSantis had nothing left but to go after Trump, then yeah, absolutely, it would politically. It'd be within its own party politically motivated, but yeah, I would say it's still politically motivated. Sure.
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe DeSantis is just biding his time before he says anything or does anything about this to see if he can use this as a way to get rid of Trump and get him off the field.
If Nevada came out and was like, hey, Trump Tower in Las Vegas, he did some shady shit, we're indicting him.
Is Trump Tower in Vegas still there?
Last I saw it when we drove through, yeah, it was still there.
Okay.
But shit, no, I was pretty sure it was still there.
Let's find out. Go ahead, keep talking.
I was gonna say, so hypothetically, if the Trump Tower is still in Nevada and still in Las Vegas, and the governor of Vegas the governor of Nevada decided to indict Trump because of something that happened out there, Nevada, which tends to be a relatively red state, which has nothing really to gain in this whole thing, if they decided to indict Trump, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, that is not politically motivated in my opinion. So what do we see? Is it still there?
I'm checking right now.
He's checking. In the meantime, let's give this an episode not brought to you by while Danny checks it up. So this week's episode not brought to you by Bojangles. So I am a huge fan of Bojangles. Bojangles, if for those of you who don't know, is a fast food chain in the South East Coast. They sell chicken tenders, and boy, let me tell you, they are some amazing chicken tenders. It's like, it's like, it's cheap. It's not like the best chicken tenders ever, like Raising Cane's or something like that. They're cheap breaded chicken tenders, and they're really good, and they're really cheap, and they're awesome, and you get a craving for it, and they're great. But their commercials are shit, and that's why this episode is not brought to you by Bojangles, because although they make an amazing product, their commercials are terrible. There's one thing in particular about the commercials that are terrible. It's they sell chicken. They would have like a sound cue for a chicken caw sound, baka or whatever sound, and you would think you would just plug in the normal like chicken sound taken from the vast inventory of sound effects. But no, they have some dude making the baka sound for a chicken in their radio commercials, dude. That's terrible. That's a terrible fucking commercial. And I love Bojangles. I will eat them tomorrow because I eat them like 2 or 3 times weekly. It's great. But I'm pissed off at their commercials, and they should lose a little bit of business because of their bad commercials. So, thank you, Bojangles.
Okay, they can't all be Gettle commercials, okay?
No, that's exactly my point. They can't all be Gettle. I'm trying to mix it up. This week it's chicken tenders. What do we say? Is Trump in Vegas?
So yeah, Vegas is still open. It was the one in Atlantic City that got demolished.
That's the one. Okay. Did they get BLM'd or just not?
No, it was. I think they just couldn't run the business anymore, and they closed it and then blew it up, and something else is there now.
Okay. Where were we? Indictment. No, I mean, politically motivated. It's obviously politically motivated. It seems to me so obviously politically motivated. Alvin Bragg, the DA of New York, when he got elected, when he first ran, that was his whole platform, is like, no, we're going to get Trump. We're going to get Trump. I don't have his exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, I don't know all the facts, but we're going to look at the facts. And if a crime's been committed, we're going to get Trump, and we're going to go after him. And that's going to be my priority, is seeing if we can get Trump. And so is it any surprise? I mean, he ran on this platform of trying to prosecute Trump. He better prosecute Trump or else he's not going to get reelected. So Again,
Okay,
that's
so
my shitty opinion.
if we go down that path, at what point does it stop being politically motivated and start being, oh, Trump actually broke the law and deserves to be in jail?
The minute there's a case brought forward that everyone's like, okay, yeah, that is a crime that he actually committed.
So everyone has to agree that a crime has been committed.
I mean, yeah, like if we're talking about a difference between jaywalking and robbery. And when it's something like jaywalking that everyone does, and I hear what you're saying. It's like, yeah, a crime might have been committed, but there are those crimes that everyone commits, and those crimes don't necessarily warrant a federal indictment or a state indictment or something like that. But when it's something after all these years and after all this time, you'd expect an actual fucking rape charge or a massive business fraud charge, not a he said she said, bullshit, or a little, oh, I forged a document here back 10-15 years ago. That's what you have after all this time? I guess I'm just like, God damn, if it spends this much time and energy going after a guy, give us something good.
It's a good point. It's a real good point. Yeah, I mean, I want to believe that they wouldn't put this much time and energy if, one, they didn't have a good enough case. Two, if it was just, we're going to go after this and, all it's going to get is a slap on the wrist. What the fuck's the point of that?
Yeah.
So
the slap on the wrist thing you kind of mentioned earlier, it's like, well, this could set the precedent of other things. It's like there's other things coming, and that is a theory of a lot of people, is that this could be just
a setup,
right? Just the setup, yeah. There's a few points I wanted to say. This might be off, but it's still on topic, but it's still off topic. The main point. I heard an interesting couple of polls taken about this whole thing, about Trump's indictment. One of the polls, of course, there's been about 34 dozen polls about this whole indictment process, but two of them really stuck out to me, and it's been pretty interesting. One of them asked everybody, do you think Trump should be indicted? That was the question. Do you think Trump should be indicted? And this was taken back like a week ago. So before he was arraigned, before he was required to actually go to New York and all that, the question was simply, should Trump be indicted? No one really knew what the indictment might be about, what the charges were, but 60% of people said, yes, Trump should be indicted. When Trump was indicted, they asked everyone again, is this indictment politically motivated? 60% of people said, yes, this is politically motivated. Now let's take those two polls and assume they are the binary opposite politically, that, this is politically motivated. Let's say that's all the Republicans. All the Republicans say, yes, this is completely politically motivated. 60% of people said that. Now you look at the other side of it that say he should be indicted. 60% of them, of the extreme, let's just assume it was all just the extremes that said that, 60%. Still, that means a 20% middle ground in which people believed, this is best case scenario, a 20% minimum, people believed that it is politically motivated and he should be indicted. That means 20% of people believe that, you know what? It is politically motivated, but, he should be indicted anyway because it's politically motivated. Regardless of the crime, regardless of what it is, I disagree with him politically, so he should be indicted. Does that not scare the shite out of you? Because it scares the shit out of me.
That's what I'm hoping. This isn't, what it is. And I refuse to believe, because at my very core, I am a constitutionalist.
Yeah. Same.
The law is the law is the law is the law for me, you, the president, whomever.
Yes.
I don't care what color you bleed. I don't care what flag you fly. You break the law, you answer to the law.
Yes.
This is why Justice wears a blindfold.
Yes.
Justice also carries a sword. Just saying.
It's pretty badass.
There was actually, we'll get into that in a second, but
he doesn't carry a gun. Okay, doesn't carry a gun.
No, but what I found funny was like somebody was like, nobody should use the Justice to attack somebody else. I'm like, why the fuck does Justice carry a sword then? You don't use a sword.
Yeah, you enforce that shit.
It's like, if it's like, okay, give her a shield then next time. No, Justice has a sword for a reason. Swift vengeance.
Yep.
But no, Justice is blind, so it doesn't matter who you are. Justice doesn't see that. Justice hears the facts and judges on that.
100% correct. Yes.
So if this has been just a perversion of justice, I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Honestly, for me, that ship is sailed. So
this is not the country I want to be affiliated with anymore. This is not my country. This is because I mean, one thing, this guy has given us plenty of things to go after him for, legitimate things. And if this is just to parade him around and be like, ha, 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 we got him, kinda, like, fuck that. Why waste the time, the resources, and my tax dollars to do that?
Right. See, it reminds me of when Trump got impeached the first time. When he was on call with Zelensky, when he was on call with the president of the Ukraine, that's when he got impeached. And when that whole thing came out, it was kind of like, wait, this is what you're going after him for? Really? Like, of all these stuff, it's like, this is what you're going after him? Okay. This seems like a repeat of that same shit. It's like, of all the, Mike has even said on this show a few times, it's like, that's what frustrates him the most is there's plenty of shit you can go after. At least it seems to us. At least that's what the press tells us, is that there's other legitimate shit. If it is legitimate, then people should go after it. And if, the other story is if people aren't going after it, then is it really legitimate? But that's a side note. So when something finally happens, this is what the result is? Really?
Yeah.
Kind of seems frustrating. And again, it kind of seems more like the district attorney is just doing anything, not something. He's just doing anything.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, you make a great point. It's that the Constitution should be blind. Justice should be blind. It should apply to everyone just the same. Apply that to Trump. It's like, yeah, if he broke the law, he should pay the penalty. The problem is that's where you get into the question of precedent. And yeah, because there's been a lot of people before him that have gotten away with a lot worse shit. Why is it that you're coming down on this one with this little... comparatively littler problem?
And I'll say, when you look at it through that lens, that does seem politically motivated.
Yeah,
and it's hard to kind of justify that.
Right. It's easy to look at this through a here and now lens and say, yeah, here's the problem. But when you look at it in a bigger picture, as far as all the other people that have gotten away with worse, it's hard to believe that it's not politically motivated. So you've got two points of view you got to wrestle with.
Now I'm gonna play a little bit of mental chess with you real quick.
Oh, I'm
ready. When you were talking about presidents that have done worse shit, who did you have in mind?
Well, JFK banged Marilyn Monroe in the Oval Office, and no one said boo.
Is that illegal?
No, but they also posted Donald Trump saying he's going to grab women by the pussy 3 weeks before the election, and that was suddenly the worst thing everyone has ever said ever. So it didn't seem fair. As far as criminality. I mean, the most recent one would be Hillary Clinton deleting emails and smashing androids with her phone. Okay, not the most recent. The more relatively recent was Hunter Biden's laptop, which somehow just disappeared again. The Steele dossier, which was paid off and defrauded just to get some fake ass charges drawn up, which never actually amounted to anything, that no one did anything with. But those are just a few, maybe, but we'll have to think more about more examples.
I thought you were going to go to Nixon.
Oh, well, Nixon at least got at least got impeached. So
He didn't. He resigned. He didn't get impeached. He resigned before he can get impeached.
I thought they voted to impeach him, and then he resigned before anything happened.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that means he didn't get impeached. Like they voted to do it, but there was never a trial because he resigned.
Oh, I think we're talking about a difference because impeachment is something they vote on. It's like, we're going to look into it. That doesn't mean getting kicked out of office. It means we're going to look into you.
Yeah. But they never even got to that point. Like they had the vote, and as soon as they said, okay, we're going to do it, he was like, I'm done. And it never even went to a full Senate trial.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then I stand corrected.
And that's what the American people were pissed off about. That Nixon
they didn't get him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like the reason like the law didn't go after him or anybody went after him afterwards was because Gerald Ford came in and was like, nah, he's pardoned. Which it doesn't take a very well-educated person to look at that and be like, the only reason Gerald Ford became president was because Nixon said, hey, as soon as I resign, you pardon me.
Well, anyway. But where were we going with that? I forgot,
just the law, and that was just a mental chess game that I wanted to play with you about like who could find like
examples of people that have gotten away with shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to deep dive. I'm sure there's a Reddit forum somewhere that can go down all of George W. Bush's like shady,
Bush, Reagan with the Iran-Contra deal.
Fucking Bill Clinton, not just Hillary Clinton, but Bill Clinton and
lying under oath.
There's the lying under oath. There was the Clinton Foundation and all the witnesses that accidentally, the Whitewater. That's what I was trying to remember. That the witness suddenly died accidentally before he was supposed to testify. It's like, we can go into the Clintons and shit. I'm trying to think of Republicans so that way I don't seem like I'm just a one-sided horn here. But
dude, I can take it all the way as far back as Lincoln.
And, Lincoln. Okay. And him telling the rest of the House to shut the fuck up. He's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, he acted unilaterally, and
in that case, it was freeing the slaves. So we let him go for that one. But
but he did. He essentially broke the law, and he's like, "Fuck you! I am the law."
It's an amazing, like, we'll bring it into a happy light just for a second here, but. When you talk about breaking the law for the greater good or for justice, breaking the law in order to get... The greater good. Nice. To break the law to get justice. An example being Abraham Lincoln going against maybe not the law, but the process, superventing the process to free the slaves, and like, is fucking awesome. And he was like, you know what? No, screw your system, screw you. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And he was like the most hated person ever for a long time. And it wasn't until after he died 20 years later that people were like, that Abraham Lincoln was kind of cool.
Well, and like everybody's like, oh no, he was awesome. He freed the slaves. And it's like you realize his plan was to like ship them all to like Brazil, right? Like, he didn't want them to be free here. He wanted to ship them all to Brazil so they can set up their own country.
Yeah, that was his logic, though. He was like, that was his thinking. He was like, look, they don't want to be here. Why the fuck would they want to stay here? Let's get them out of here. They shouldn't be slaves. Why would if I was a slave in Spain, I wouldn't want to stay in Spain. So he was like, let's get them out of here. So
yeah. Maybe it was foresight because he could foresee like the Jim Crow era and just segregation and how horrible it was going to be. So it was like, no, as soon as they're free, they need to go because it's not going to be great for them here.
You know what? I'm going to believe that. That's exactly
it's
what
nice.
happened.
It's nice to have that to believe, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was the reason. That was the reason.
And you know what? If he was around, he could defend himself, but he's not. So, haha. Thank you, Booth. Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled for sure.
Oh, absolutely. All these people. Lincoln was a great man.
But back to the indictment. There's been the usual circus of crazy shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene compared Trump to Jesus. This is real.
And Nelson Mandela. I was just like,
yeah, you heard that? Okay, it was like, really? Now, I was like, what the fuck? But here's my one excuse, what I'll be like for Taylor Greene. It's like, oh, okay, well, it is Easter. It is Easter time. I guess the topical thing would be like, oh, yeah, also Jesus Christ and shit. It's still, though, it's like, really? But
Trump's going to die for 3 days? Is this what this means?
Let's see. Oh, my God. But I mean, my joke that I like to tell people is, show me a Republican that said some crazy shit, and I'll show you 2 Democrats that said some crazy shit. Because like literally the next day, Pelosi came out in a news conference. Some believe this was a slip of the tongue. I don't, but she said some shit about like no one's above the law, the usual thing everyone says. And everyone deserves their day in court. This is literally what she said. It said everyone deserves their day in court to prove their innocence. And like she continued on with the press conference, and I was like, wait, what? Wait, do you think she messed that up on purpose?
No, I think she said that. Like everybody deserves their day in court to prove their innocence. That's what. Oh no, you're right, because you don't prove your innocence in court.
Exactly.
You defend your innocence in court.
See. That might have been an example of the thinking in this whole thing. It's like, no, he's guilty. We should prove his innocence. He needs to prove his innocence. Like, no, sir, you are a murderer, and it's up to you to prove that you're not. Go.
Yeah. It's like no.
And
no.
And speaking as a biased Republican, I've said this disclaimer 3 times now in this episode. It seems like Trump has been up against the wall and had to prove his innocence from day one. It seems like everyone's accused him of shit and put the responsibility on him to prove himself. Now, Trump's a billionaire. I can give a shit. I think he's a terrible person. But I do see some injustice here as far as like they're treating him unfairly. Even how shitty of a person he is, it's still true to say he's being treated unfairly. I mean, it sucks to say that, but fuck.
So the fact that this is the first time he's been in court since 2016 for a non-business related crime.
But this is a business related crime.
Well, I mean, it's a campaign finance crime. Has to do with business.
It's business fraud that has to do with campaign. It is a business crime.
So like what I'm trying to get at is like the impeachment stuff. I wouldn't say because he never saw a day in court for that.
Correct.
Because they couldn't vote to impeach him.
Correct.
So I wouldn't say that would be unfairly treated because he never even got sworn in to testify or do anything like that. He never even got subpoenaed to come in and do anything for that.
Right. No. Yeah. Right.
So I would argue that if we're talking about injustice, we can throw that out because that. I mean, granted, some people had an agenda.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen that gone to trial just to see what would have happened and how the scales would have fallen. Well, because we never even got to see like. Anybody testify? We never saw evidence presented. It never got that far.
Right.
And I would have liked to have seen it at least get that far. So let the guy have his day in court and let him see like what evidence they had against him. And to see if that stuff could be brought to the light.
So I mean, it just feels like that's going back to the. Look, we dislike this person so much that they should be in court. And a case, whatever the case, should be brought up. And we should see this person defend themselves. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you just look at it in just that perspective, just in that black and white justice perspective, it's like that doesn't seem right. But you add the context of, but this guy is so politically hated by so many people, even from people in his own political party. everyone hates him so much that they want to throw him in court. But the problem is court falls under that whole justice thing, and that justice thing has to be blind and real to the facts. But I don't know. It's a very bad mix of just political emotion and the law.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Trump is I will say he self-proclaimed himself a billionaire.
Yeah.
It's more likely he's a millionaire.
He has about $1 billion, and that's
okay.
I don't know.
What did you think about Graham going on national television and saying donate?
Graham?
Yeah. Senator, I forget his first name.
Graham donate Trump. Let's see what Google says. Official Trump campaign support Donald Trump. Graham calls for donations following Trump's indictment. One last chance to whatever. Lindsey Graham. Senator Lindsey Graham on Tuesday took to Fox to call for donations to former President Trump following his arraignment on criminal. Okay, Lindsey Graham.
So in 2015, Lindsey Graham went on every news network he could and told America how bad Trump would be for America. Mm-hmm. How horrible it would for this bigot, this religious fanatic to be president of the United States.
Okay.
And then 7 years later is now crying on TV.
Okay,
he was literally tearing up.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, here's what I'll say about Graham. And this is why I love Lindsey Graham. From Kentucky, right? South Carolina. Wow. Shit.
That's your neck of the woods, buddy.
You know what? We are neighboring Kentucky and South Carolina, so it's close enough. But Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham has always been on the side of a particular set of values, virtues, whatever, the American way that the media likes to poke fun at is the American values and whatever. Lindsey Graham came into my perspective during the Kavanaugh trials, when Kavanaugh, who led a pretty clean, we won't have to get into the Kavanaugh debate just yet. The crux of what Lindsey Graham was going about is like, here's this guy who seemed to be living a good life his whole life, and all of a sudden here's this baseless, evidenceless accusation, and because of this one person's one accusation without any evidence, any collaboration, any other witnesses, suddenly this guy is being federally investigated and asked under a federal Supreme Court if he's ever participated in gang rape, based on one person's hearsay. And Lindsey Graham flew off the handle about this, saying that you guys have lost your fucking mind. This is so obviously orchestrated and politically motivated that this person is just suddenly has to defend himself on just a purely accusation. It's just ridiculous. That's when he first came into my perspective. I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. He seems to be angry at the fact that people have perverted the system to match their political view, a system that seems to enforce good values, but they take it and pervert it to match their views. So it seems like Lindsey Graham would absolutely attack Donald Trump relentlessly and say, look, this guy's a fucking idiot. He's a billionaire of the worst kind. He was born into his money. He squandered most of it, and somehow he managed to flip a profit only because he was on national TV for a while, and suddenly everyone loves him. Everyone loves him, and then, basically over 2 years, he suddenly became a racist, but we don't know why, but we're going to move on past that. So I can see how Lindsey Graham would be like, dude, fuck this guy. But after all the shit happened, Lindsey Graham seems to me like the kind of guy to be like, okay, I think I was wrong in that regard. But look, here is another injustice. As much as I feel negativity towards Donald Trump, I know injustice when I see injustice. And the only way to fight injustice is to go after the perpetrators of injustice and be like, look, you went after this guy unfairly. You should pay for this. You should donate to the victim so that way you can pay for this. So that's my basic summary of Lindsey Graham.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm just asking questions.
Super opinionated, I know. Lindsey Graham seems like a guy I'd love to go out drinking with, because like a fight's gonna break out. But
it was just I just found it weird, man. Like,
it is weird. I will give you that. It is weird that he'd come out and be like, "Hey, here's a quote here. Hang on. One
donate,
last
ask your
chance.
friends to donate.
You need to help this man, Donald J. Trump. They're trying to drain him dry." Okay. He spent more money on lawyers than most people spend on campaigns. That's true. They're trying to bleed him.
He didn't spend any money on lawyers.
You don't think Trump spent any money on lawyers?
No. They've done the research. He gets exactly what Lindsey Graham is like saying. He gets people to donate money for his legal defense.
He's got, what's his name? Alan Dershowitz. He's got Alan Dershowitz on his legal team. I mean, like, that shit doesn't come for free from donations.
No, I'm not saying it does.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying people are donating money to him to pay his legal fees.
This was Lindsey Graham breaks from Trump demand after emotional TV defense. The emotional TV. I don't want to watch that shit. I hate it.
You don't want to watch it. He's
Anytime
literally
someone's
like tearing up as he's saying it.
Anytime someone's emotional in public, I don't want to watch it. Like, both sides, no, I don't want to watch it. Dumb. It's public, all right? Be professional. Come on.
Be professional, yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Don't take me to a video link. Oh, God. Okay. Turning off the Google. No, that is, I could see how that would be weird. Lindsey Graham, I mean, ugh. Although, I just will say, I will admit that is weird and kind of like pathetic, but on the other hand, I do see Lindsey Graham as someone who is truly passionate about the values he is sworn to protect when he, raised his right hand and swore to protect, and emotionally at some point, which I don't think he should be, but you know what? I think some people ought to be. I don't know. So that's my take on that.
Okay.
And I'm the first one to admit I'm probably completely full of shit. But I like talking, and that's why y'all listen to this, because you like listening to people who like talking. I think I wrote a few points down that I wanted to bring up, and I hit on all of them. No, I hit on all of them. So sweet. Yeah, that was all the points I wanted to make. I was trying to be just like, conversation, but I can't help but rant. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Ranting is content.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I tell you what, man, I'm trying to think of some super controversial shit to say about all this. Trump wouldn't be. No, I'm just gonna stop. I listened to enough Glenn Beck that I can come up with some shit that I would say. And if you've listened to 10 seconds of Glenn Beck, you've listened to enough Glenn Beck.
This is true. I saw him in Iron Man. I was like, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore.
No thanks. I'm good. Ugh, he bugs me. He bugs the shit out of me. Like, I literally rolled my eyes and turned off the radio and listened to classical music because it was better than that shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm all for a conversation. Bring your honest opinions, values, have some arguments to back them up. But when you just rant about stupid stuff and have no backing and draw lines between things that are just unsafe, I stop listening. I mean, if there's a legitimate connection to be made, make it. But otherwise, it's just shit.
So let me ask you this. If the court in New York finds Donald Trump guilty, will you accept that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have no choice. It's like that's what it is. That's what it is. It's kind of like
you can protest it. Like I'm saying, like you don't like. Are you just gonna sit there and take it? I mean, no. Like, are you gonna have a problem with it? Are you, or will it be like, okay, they presented the evidence, they've proven the evidence. This was legit.
So it's kind of like I like the connection I immediately went to was the O.J. Simpson case of do you accept that? And it's like, no, I don't. So will you accept this one? Oh, well, that's a good question. If they present legitimate evidence and jury elects to convict, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I guess like if I'll have to see what the evidence is. I'll have to see what the evidence is.
I will say this: hate him as much as you want. Johnny Cochran was brilliant during the O.J. Simpson trial.
Agreed, 100%.
Because he knew how to manipulate and work the system. There is a system, and like all systems, there are holes and gaps, and it's the Matrix, man. You know, you can bend some rules, others you can break, and be fine. And Johnny Cochran knew how to do that, and so as long as he's doing it within the law, I can't say shit about it. And that's what happened in that case. So if Donald Trump can use the law and manipulate and work the law, the legal system like that, I can't say shit about it. He was better. He deserves to win at that point. Win his case. But if the other side does it, the prosecution does it and does it better and proves.
So here's why I have a problem with that situation, the hypothetical to begin with, is that if this were in my opinion, legitimate process, the falsified business documents, which is the charge, would normally be a misdemeanor. Trump would pay his fee like everyone else does and move on if it were within the statute of limitations. And if that were the case, I'd be like, yeah, well, shit, yeah, you falsified your documents, pay your fee and move on.
But there's a reason why they chose to make it a felony. And they have to be able to prove that this is a felony. It doesn't do them any good to say it's a felony and then not be able to back it up.
Well, it kind of sets up the whole case. I mean, it's why that Chauvin was bumped up to second-degree murder rather than manslaughter during the George Floyd case. It's like it's up to the DA to decide the severity of the law that was broken. He decided that it was a felony grade, so that's what he decided it was. Every other case before this was misdemeanor, but for whatever reason, this one is felony grade.
But then Chauvin is put on trial for second-degree murder.
Correct.
The jury could have said, okay, he's not guilty of second-degree murder. We find him guilty of manslaughter.
No. They would have said not guilty of murder, end of case. They can't find him guilty of something less. They find him guilty or innocent of the crime they accuse him of. That's how the courts usually work. I mean, as to my understanding, I might be wrong there. You know what? We need a lawyer on here to clarify, because that's how I thought it was. We need a legal friend. Because as far as I knew, is that the court says you are accused of this. Are you guilty or not guilty? Here's the argument, and then that's it.
I have a family friend that used to be the DA for LA County.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can get him on here to talk about this shit. He's a really cool, laid back dude. Makes a really great baklava.
Ooh.
So good. Yeah, really good.
I'm about.
I don't know. Maybe. I'll talk to him about it. He might.
If he can, if he can knit a good balaclava, I'd be all about it. So
no, baklava.
No. Moving on. No, but no. Back to the if this. See, that's why I have a problem with the setup, because if this was a legitimate court case, a legitimate court charge, would you be happy with the result? And it's like, okay, is it legit on paper? I mean, yeah, it is. I guess. Quite frankly, I have to admit it is a legit charge because the DA made it a legit charge. Has there ever been a charge like this before? No. Well, so what? I mean,
look at it this way. His lawyers, who I'm sure are very good, very litigious, will point that out and be like, look.
Of course, yeah.
There's no way this can be felony what it is. Because define, because their argument will be define severity.
Mm-hmm.
Severity is a very subjective term.
Yes.
And it can go either way. Look at me, all lawyering and shit. I should have been a lawyer.
You should have been. You could have made more money.
There's still time. No, there's not. I'm not going back to school. Fuck that noise.
I'm happy enough. I'm not going back.
Yeah. We'll see. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see, man. And hopefully it doesn't distract us from, the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, in the meantime, everyone, as a side note, everyone, hoard as much water as you can. Get as much water as you can. Go bag just filled with tools, man, but like get some MREs and water. Just get water and lots of water, especially all you in California. I know it rained a lot and you're all thinking, oh my God, we're not in a drought. Get water. Fuck that. Get water, because look into everyone in California. Look into how much money the state government spent on building reservoirs in the past 2 years. I will tell you, it is $0 fucking dollars. Okay. You guys had all that rain. It's already in the ocean. You guys don't have any water. Go buy some barrels and save some water, because your state does not do it. It's building a fucking bullet train. Okay. Just, God damn it.
Sorry, we're building a bullet train. Because it's cool, Mitch. In California, we're the cool state.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like, you guys have been in a drought for 200 years. And like now you guys get on the news and you're all like, yeah, it's in a drought. It's unprecedented, state of emergency. It's like, yeah, you have to have water to be in a drought. Okay. You had to have had water in the first place to be in a drought. You never had water. Why is it that Israel has never run out of water, which is in the desert, but California has run out of water? Figure your shit out. Okay. Elect new people.
This is Mitch from North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen.
I can tell you, I'm not as far as I can be, but I'm pretty far. I'm like not the farthest I could possibly be from California, but I'm pretty far.
You have to go to fucking Maine, which is another blue state. You don't want to do that.
Alaska or Hawaii or whatever. But let me just say, I'm pretty far.
You're pretty far. 3,000 miles away is pretty fucking far.
It's pretty far. California makes the news in North Carolina. Okay? Just like, I thought it was just crazy, but no, I'm in North Carolina listening to the news talking about the rain and snow that's in California and the drought you guys have. It's crazy.
Mitch, when you have the 5th largest GDP in the world, I mean, we're going to be in the news everywhere.
No, you guys have the 5th largest GDP. You guys, I got to say that. California has the 5th largest GDP, and they're still in debt. They're still broke. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, America has the largest GDP in the world, and we're in debt. Like, the country's in debt. It happens.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. We should just tell China to fuck off, and boom, we're not in debt anymore.
We're about to. So, again, stock up on water. Have some MREs in a go bag.
Just get water. Just get water. Fuck guns.
The status quo of the world is about to change, folks.
Just don't worry about guns. Don't worry about food. Don't worry about any of that. Okay, people will die. You can eat them. It's fine. Just get water. Just get water. Just get lots of water.
Or find the guy that's prepping, kill him, and take all his shit.
Take all his shit and just water.
Yep.
Find a creek and dam it, and just keep all that water to yourself. Okay. Fuck the other guys.
God damn it.
God damn it. The water.
God damn it.
Do you have any other points about the arraignment, indictment, Trump? Anything you want to say about Trump?
I think we polished that turd as polished as it's going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Danny comes from a very classy middle point of view about the whole thing. It's like, look, if a crime was committed, he should be, charged for it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I find myself falling into a lot of the most right-leaning people who's like, no, this is all political. It's all bullshit. Come on. But, don't listen to me. Listen to Danny. Everyone, just do that.
Just prove that he did something wrong. and then we'll go from there.
I mean, at this point, I think most Republicans would agree. Like, God damn it, just prove he did something wrong, and then we can move on.
Yeah, we'll go from there.
It's been 8 years. But, anyway. Did I have anything else? Anyway, no, we'll call it there. Hey, everyone, thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Danny, thank you for being the receiver for all my horse shittery over here.
Hey, I am glad to receive from you, Mitch. Anytime. I'll take anything you got.
I love you.
All right, man. You too.
All right. Everyone, thanks for listening, and have a good happy Easter and a good rest of your April, and we'll see y'all later. Recording stopped. Stop recording. There we go.